was a kid, I used to play Nintendo games for hours and hours. But since I was a kid and not very good, I'd end up replaying the same starting areas over and over. Gradually I got better and started to push further into the games. This experience is largely absent these days, as games have generally gotten easier and more forgiving. Now we've got multiple save points, character upgrades, and clearly signposted through paths. The old times aren't totally dead, however. If you're looking to recapture the old NES nostalgia these days, there's a growing subgenre that'll scratch that itch, the roguelike. Named after Rogue, a classic 1980 ASCII-based dungeon crawler, the roguelike subgenre spans different game types and shares a number of unique gameplay characteristics. Though these can vary between titles, roguelikes normally have procedurally generated areas or terrain, high difficulty levels, and permadeath. Visually, roguelikes are often deliberately retro and minimalist, with 8 or 16-bit pixel graphics and NES-era design. So what does procedurally generated and permadeath mean in practical terms? In traditional game development, levels are created statically. If you play through Super Mario Bros., you'll see the same set of levels over and over. Roguelike developers use procedural generation to create random levels from a selection of existing elements. You can play the first area 10 times and never see the same layout. Permadeath essentially means you've only got one life. No matter how far you progress into the game, if you die you'll have to start back at the beginning. Any character upgrades or items or abilities will be lost. Every time you play the game you'll start from scratch. I've played a handful of roguelikes so far and I've liked some more than others. I'm a big fan of FTL, Faster Than Light from Subset Games, a difficult and addicting starship simulation. The game sees you running across the galaxy from a massive Federation fleet. I've only managed to get to the flagship once and it kicked my ass. I love the systems management and seeing how far I can get before getting blown out of the sky or being boarded and murdered by aliens. I've also had a lot of fun with Spelunky from developer Derek Yu, a ruthless adventure platformer with a dedicated fanbase. Every day thousands of players attempt the daily challenge, a shared set of levels that changes every day. The challenge ramps up the further you go and you need to plan every move carefully to avoid traps and hidden enemies. With tight controls and clever mechanics, Spelunky's always good fun to pick up and play for a daily 15-minute session, or 5 minutes in my case. Risk of Rain from Hopoo Games is another tough action platformer. The object of each level is to find the teleporter to the next stage and fight off the enemies trying to stop you from reaching it. You start with one class but can unlock others, all with custom abilities. I love the combat system with hotbar actions and cooldowns reminiscent of those seen in MMOs like World of Warcraft. I haven't played too much of Risk of Rain yet, as I normally get killed pretty quickly. It offers local and online multiplayer though, so I imagine there's a load of fun to be had if I can manage to round up a few friends to play with. Finally, I've had fun playing Teleglitch Die More Edition, a top-down survival horror roguelike from Test3 Projects. Of all the roguelikes I've played, this is the most difficult. Ammo is scarce, the enemies are relentless, and the mood is grim. There's been a new arena mode added recently, so I'm looking forward to dying even faster in future playthroughs. I was thinking about roguelikes the other day, after playing FTL. In most non-roguelike games, your character gets stronger the longer you play. You upgrade armor, weapons, or skills, and this makes you more powerful. However, since roguelikes don't have any persistent character upgrades, or ship upgrades as in FTL, playing the game doesn't upgrade your character. Playing the game upgrades you, as the player. The more you play, the more you get to know a game's systems, mechanics, enemies, and stages. You upgrade your own ability to play the game the more time you invest. Sure, there are some roguelikes where you can unlock new characters, like in Risk of Rain, or ships in FTL, but these unlocks are normally balanced and don't seem to offer a particular advantage. Playing roguelikes always takes me back to my younger days fighting my way through Castlevania or Super Mario 2. So have attention spans gotten worse, or have games changed that much since I was a kid? I have clear memories of throwing my arrow-riddled body again and again up the Castlevania steps, on the off chance I'd get 5 minutes further into the level. Nowadays, unless there's a save point every 5 minutes or flashing pop-ups telling you where to go, some players will complain a game is too hard. I'm glad there's been a trend in games that require patience, a good memory, and a decent level of manual dexterity. Roguelikes might not be for everyone, but every time I play one I feel like a kid again, especially when I get killed over and over.